What's going on, guys? I'm Mike Sabo. This is my 2022 F150 Powerboost. This isn't going to be a video going over all the features of the truck. It's going to be more on based on my opinion on four main factors. Those four factors are going to be the performance, the fuel economy, the reliability, and the towing performance. So before I even get started, I've had this truck for about 3 years and I've put 46,000 miles on it. I leased the truck and it's time to turn it in. And I had a lot of questions when I was leasing this truck, whether or not to get the Powerboost or whether or not to not get it. And I just figured, if you're looking to buy one of these, whether it's used or lease a brand new one, because I think they still make it in the same configuration, hopefully this video can help you. The first thing I'll go over is the performance. So to the best of my knowledge, this has the same 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 that's in the regular EcoBoost F150. So when it comes to, is the engine going to be able to tow, or the performance and stuff, you're going to get all the performance of the regular 3.5, and it's mated to an electric engine or electric motor that adds, I believe, 230 horsepower or 230 foot-pounds of torque at least, and they can combine to work together. So this engine, the engine and motor combination between the gas and electric actually combine and put out more power than the regular 3.5 V6 twin turbo. And when it comes to the performance aspect, I can tell you that's where this truck is really impressive. It's not like sports car performance, but I believe the 0 to 60 is 5.2 seconds. And I've had quite a few drag races on the street, nothing like serious, but people just like messing with you, or some asshole in a BMW that wants to cut you off, and you can kind of slam the door in their face. It's a little shocking how quick this truck is. Like, you wouldn't think that it's as quick as it is. It does have kind of a weird delay in the performance. So when you first get the truck, you may notice that, because it will switch back and forth on its own from hybrid to electric. There's no switch where you can just go full electric mode or full gas mode. It does that all on its own. So if that's something that you're looking for, like plug-in hybrid type of performance and technology, this isn't it. It does it all via the computer. But sometimes there's a weird delay where, the engine's picking the electric engine or the gas engine. And when you first get the truck, you might feel like there's something wrong with it. After you drive for a little while, you don't even notice it. Like, after owning it as long as I have, I don't notice it at all. When you notice it is when you hop in somebody else's vehicle and the power's a little bit more on demand. I have a buddy, he's got a 2010 F150 with it's a Raptor. I think it has a 6.2 V8, and it has less horsepower and less torque than this, if I'm not mistaken. And it feels like it has more power because the power is more on demand. It feels much more connected. It does feel a little bit weird. So test drive this before you buy it, and you'll feel the difference, but that doesn't necessarily mean that something's wrong with it. So I just wanted to mention, it's kind of weird how it does that, but it's not necessarily an issue. It's just the nature of the beast. But really, the performance is outstanding on this thing. From a dead stop, I wouldn't say it's the most impressive. It's like you have to be in the right RPM, or the computer has to already have selected which mode it's going to be in. Even if you put it in performance mode, it still seems to have like this little bit of lag. But sometimes if you're doing like merging on the highway, or you're already rolling, and sometimes even from a dead stop, I don't know why, it just seems to really hook and be in the right gear and everything. And it literally, to this day, I'm used to the power of this thing. And just last week, I was in the left turn lane, and I decided I didn't feel like sitting in the left turn lane because it was so backed up, and I wanted to merge into the straight lane. And I went out and I didn't realize it, and there was a car, flying up right behind me, so I floored it. And like, it actually, I don't want to say it sucked the wind out of my lungs. Like, it's not that crazy, but I was shocked, even driving this regularly, how much power it has when it really hooks up. So it's definitely a good performing engine, and it makes a lot of power. The next thing I'll go over is the fuel economy for this truck, because that's probably one of the main reasons that somebody would be looking for one of these hybrids, because the regular 3.5 twin turbo that EcoBoost that Ford makes is pretty damn good at towing to begin with. You can, and if you go on Reddit, and which a lot of people go to Reddit for like gas mileage testimonials and stuff, I feel like you get a lot of people on there that it's either completely bullshit, or they had this drive that was like a 4,000 foot reduction in elevation, and they're giving you these crazy fuel economy numbers, or they're really low, like a lot lower than what I personally got with this. So in my experience, you can get realistically with regular driving like low to mid 20s combined in fuel economy. Now, I live in a suburb, like rural area. It's not a lot of long roads, and it's not city either. But I've done both driving, and I've done really long road trips. I'm here in the Philadelphia area, and I've taken this truck. I've trailered all the way out to Oklahoma and back, which is like a 4,000 mile round trip. I've taken it to Indiana several times, and I've taken it to Nebraska several times. Those are all, you know, I think Indiana is 2,000 miles there and back, or 1,000 miles each way, and Nebraska is 1,500 miles each way. And I did all those trips I've done with and without a trailer. So I have a pretty good idea what the fuel economy is. If you can have the bed loaded pretty good, as long as there's not like something that's really tall, that's like a wind sail and has a lot of wind resistance, you can legitimately get, if you're gonna go 70 miles an hour, 70, 75, it'll get like 26 miles per gallon on the highway. If you can granny it a little bit, or honestly, if you hit traffic is when it really starts to get good gas mileage, because that's when the electric motor kicks on a lot. Once you get over, it's rare that over 50 miles per hour, you go into electric mode. The electric engine just isn't strong enough, or the computer just doesn't want to kick it on. So if you're on the highway, you're almost never in electric mode unless you're stuck in traffic. If you get stuck in traffic, it'll stay in electric mode a lot, especially stop and go. And that's where you can get crazy good fuel economy, and it's really nice for stuff like that. But if you're grannying it on the highway going like 55, 60, it'll get like 28. I think the best I ever got just cruising was like 28 and a half on the highway. You can realistically do that. In the city, around town, you do typically get better. If you're driving it like an asshole and you're stepping on it all the time, it's gonna be like a normal 3.5 V6, because the electric engine goes off as soon as you give it more than like a quarter throttle. It kicks on the gas engine. It's recruiting more power. But if you do slow starts and stuff, it'll stay in electric mode here and there. Or if you're coasting at like 40, 45 miles an hour, the gas engine will shut off. You'll see your tachometer will go to 0, and you're just cruising in electric mode. It'll do that a lot, and that's when you can get, no word of a lie, I work from the house, so I don't really have a commute. I usually have these long road trips where I'm trailering, or bringing my bikes to an event, because I build bikes for a living, bringing them to an event or something like that. Or anyways, the gym is really what I would say is my daily commute that I typically do, and I will generally get, in the summertime, 30 miles per gallon going to the gym, which is an 8-mile drive here in the suburbs. And there's usually like a little bit of stop and go, but you can legitimately get 25 to 30 miles per gallon in the city, which is incredibly impressive in my opinion. The other thing is that the weather seems to have a pretty big impact on the fuel economy. In the wintertime, I would say it sometimes goes down like as much as 5 miles per gallon. A lot of times, like, it'll be under 20 miles per gallon, even here in the city, or like the suburb driving, my gym commute, it might be like 20. I'll be happy if I get 20 miles per gallon if it's really, really cold out. And then in the summer, like a day like today, it's 90 degrees. I bet you I could get 32.5 miles per gallon going to the gym. I think most vehicles perform better fuel economy wise when it's warmer, but I think the hybrid system specifically, it just likes the warmer weather a lot better. So that's something to keep in consideration. I also I'm living in the Philadelphia area, most for 80% of my ownership, maybe a little bit less. For 6 months, I lived in Nebraska and drove this truck, and I seemed to get worse fuel economy out there. Now that was in the wintertime, and it was extremely cold. But it was rare that you'd get over 20 miles per gallon out there. I don't know why that is. Those were long, straight, flat roads. It could be because of the extreme cold, or maybe it was the elevation or something, but that's just something to keep in mind. When you take this video with a grain of salt, I think it does depend on your location and your elevation. And for the people that have Powerboost F150s, I know there's a lot of people on the forums, they want to know like what % of your miles are gas and what % of your miles are just electric. Unfortunately, I actually looked on the dash. You can't do your total miles and see how many electric miles the vehicle has on it. But just in general, it's like 20 to 25% electric. So if there's we'll say 40,000 miles for an easy round number, you could expect about 10,000 miles of them would be in electric mode. If you're towing or you're an aggressive driver, it's gonna be like almost no electric miles, I'm telling you. It only goes into electric mode when you're easy driving. Next thing I want to talk about is the towing experience that I've had with this truck. So before this truck, I had a 2019 Silverado that had the 5.3 V8, and it did pretty good. Like, it never really had any trouble. For reference, what I tow typically is an 8.5 by 20 trailer, and it usually weighs between 7,000 and 8,500. So it's not like a crazy heavy load, but it's a full load, and it's a big, trailer, and it's not a V-nose, so it has that big flat front. And it's a big truck for like an F-150, or a big trailer rather. That's what I towed out to Oklahoma. I towed that out to Indiana, and I towed it out to Nebraska. So good bit of towing. Actually, in the fuel economy section, what I didn't mention, the overall fuel economy that I have for the entire 46,000 miles is 20.8 miles per gallon. 20.8 miles per gallon, and that includes probably about 10,000 miles of towing. So the towing, it gets really bad fuel economy. So that's why I wanted to go into towing next, because if you're looking for fuel economy with towing, this is not the truck for you. And I don't think it's the Powerboost. I think it's the EcoBoost that really suffers, because I've looked at reviews on those. My 5.3 Chevy, I could get about 10, 11 miles per gallon on my road trips. And these are the same exact road trips that I did with this F-150, only I did it with the Silverado. And that truck got lower fuel economy without the trailer, but with the trailer, the 10, 11, this one, it's pretty bad. It gets like, if you're granny in it, you might get 9 if you're granny in it. But regular driving, which you end up doing, especially if you're doing a 2,000 mile trip, you're not going to be granny in that. You want to get there as soon as you possibly can. And once you get it up to like between 70 and 80 miles per hour, it's in some stretches, you're getting like 6 miles per gallon. And, you know, when you're trailering, you can't be saying like, oh, I want better. I mean, like, everybody wants better fuel economy, but you can't expect that. But 6 is pretty low. I've trailered not just with that 5.3 Silverado, I've trailered with other stuff too. And usually with my trailer, most trucks get like between that 8 to 11 mark. And I think it's just not efficient for towing. I don't know why that is. And then from what I've seen but it tows great though. Like the performance towing wise, it definitely tows better than the 5.3. You almost can't feel the trailer behind you. Having the 3.5 EcoBoost has great torque as it is. And when you pair the extra 230 foot-pounds of torque or whatever it is with that electric motor, it pulls really, really good. So that was excellent. Whatever kind of sway system that Ford has built into this system, this truck had a lot less sway than my Silverado had. It was just easier to tow. Granted, you know, I have the tow mirrors on this, so that helps out. But the tow mirrors aside, like the performance of the truck, the stability that I felt, you know, I've had a quad in the back and a whole bunch of wheels and gas and stuff back here, and the 8.5 by 20 trailer packed to the gills with other machines and tents and all kinds of stuff. And this truck pulled it no problem, to the point where you actually forget it's back there. And that's really, really nice. So if you don't care about the fuel economy aspect, I would say this is a great truck for towing. The performance-wise, it's absolutely there. Back to that fuel economy number, the 20.8 miles per gallon. Again, that is the complete combined, including about 10,000 miles with the, you know, 6 to 7 miles per gallon while I was trailering. So the overall fuel economy of this truck, if you weren't trailering, I wouldn't be surprised if I got like 28 miles per gallon for the life of the vehicle, which is wild. But, you know, I don't drive it crazy. I don't have like a lead foot, but I also don't drive like a grandma either. Like sometimes I do, but I would say I'm just like a regular driver. And the last thing I want to go over is the reliability. I've had absolutely zero problems with this truck. I mean, it was brand new when I got it, so you'd expect there'd be no problems. Like I said, I've towed plenty with it. There's been days where I rode it really hard when I'm in a rush, and I've also even done a little bit of off-roading with it. I have not had any issues whatsoever. The only thing that happened that I would say worth mentioning is that the axle snapped. However, it was like the splines on the end of the rear axles, and it was a recall from Ford. So that was something that's fixed. And if you're going to be buying one of these, even if it's a used one, I would imagine that that's been addressed. Ford updated the axles, they replaced them, and it wasn't really an issue. It's just, that's the only thing that I can think of though that actually happened. Otherwise though, no issues whatsoever, just regular maintenance and driving it. So that's my feedback on the Powerboost F-150. I figured I would close this out showing you guys the truck that's going to be replacing my Powerboost, because a lot of people want to know, okay, well, what are you upgrading to, or would you get the F-150 Powerboost again if you had the option? And the answer is yes, I would get the Powerboost yet again. The reason that I replaced it with this truck, this is a 2015 Silverado, is because I am trying to lower my overall expenses. I'm currently looking for a house, so the 2022 was a lease, and that's a payment every month. I was able to buy this outright. It was, you know, it's worth quite a bit less than the Powerboost, and it's a decent, solid, reliable truck. So if I was going to lease another truck, I would definitely consider a new Powerboost. So there's that. I think it's a great truck. And I would say the overall highlight of the truck that really makes it stand out from, you know, the competition is the performance. I don't know that there are any other trucks out right now that are a regular pickup truck but still have the performance of the 5.2 0 to 60, which I think that varies depending on the cab and the bed size and everything, but that is probably the most outstanding thing, and the towing capabilities are just really, really good on it. So I hope that this helps you with your decision if you're looking for a Powerboost. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Make sure you leave a like and leave a comment in the comment section below what trucks you're considering, or if you have a Powerboost, I'm curious what miles per gallon you guys get. So let me know in the comment section below. Bonus content. This is one of the features that you can get with the Powerboost, and it's one of the main reasons that I actually ordered this truck initially. It has the 7,200 watt generator with multiple outlets. It's got a 220 volt back here, or 240 volt actually. And I wanted this to power my trailer because I have like a mobile workshop and whatnot. And I never used it even one time, with the exception of testing it. Just because when I first got it, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I never actually used it because every place I go, there's shore power. So like, why would you use the one in the truck? So that's not really like one of the features that I wanted to highlight in this, but if you are looking at one of these Powerboosts, this could be a great feature. You know, just because I didn't use it doesn't mean you wouldn't. But if you're going to camping places and RV spots, like most places have shore power, you're probably not going to use this. So just something to consider. You can get the Powerboost without this also. So I'm just saying, if you're buying a truck and you're paying extra just for this feature, just think about how much you might be using it before you get it. And that's all, guys. Make sure to check out my main channel, Michael Sabo, and consider subscribing for more content. Peace out.